welcome. This is your reading for July 17th through next Friday. I am Leah and I am here to do 3 cards. Therefore, how we are going to care for the community and how we are going to receive care for the community. That's the first card. The second card is how we are going to receive and give care to our homes and our families, like the inner circle around ourselves, our environment. And the last card is just for ourselves. So I usually start with just a quick shuffle and let the cards tell me how they want to proceed. Here's our card from last week. She was a card for me this week as well. I pulled one night and there she was. Like, yep, we know you're here. So it's been a week. Just keeps on keeping on. Being a time. Really would love some precedented times. At this point, there are no precedented times. Looking forward to some point things might feel calm in the world. I'm not saying that everything's ever been great or perfect, but I do feel like there was a place where we could catch our breath between tragedies. And maybe there was a tragedy in one area of the world, but not every single area of the human and natural world. I don't know. I'm just tired, y'all. I'm just tired. That's why we're here. We're here to work with this energy. I put this out every single week to give you something to work with, to give you a way to take this swirling chaos or dread or whatever else is going on in the world and use it to everyone's benefit. That's why we do it. That's why I do it. Really, that's the only reason that I'm here on this page doing these readings. Is hoping that it's helpful for you. It's helpful for me, so I'll just keep doing it. Okay, for our community, the biggest circle around us. See, today it's just a rando pick. Oh, Ethra, your air, Ace of Clubs, very fun. Marduk again. I felt like we could use a little Marduk energy. And then ourselves. Sword of Destruction. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I was looking through the cards the other night. Maybe it was last night. I was just looking through them all delightfully like that. And then I looked at this card and I was like, I feel like we haven't had this card in a while. Or we haven't had it here. I don't know. I think we've had it here, but it's been a while. And here it is. And then for our bottom of the deck, we have Leo. Leo and Marduk are kind of like two sides of the same coin because this is earth and this is fire. So we'll put him over there. Okay, so let me just look at this for a sec. Get my feelings about it. I use the picture book of Anna Cortez. I feel like it's a very dark deck in terms of the imagery and the card meanings that she used. However, I don't know that that's negative, right? Like I said, we're dealing with a lot of real negative stuff going on, and the air card really connects me to the air that we are, if you're in a lot of the US and Canada, the air is bad. There are multiple giant wildfires outside Ontario, in the Ontario province, and it is making our air bad. This morning, I was able to bike the kids to school, my cargo bike. If you ever want to see my cargo bike, you can go to my Instagram. I ride it around on it all the time. Anyway, I was so happy because the air smelled so good, and it's not smelling like that anymore, but at least it's feeling pretty clear, but it felt so crisp and clean, and I was like, the air is amazing. And it's so hard when the air isn't clean. Like, people live, and you may live in an area that has poor air regularly, and like, that just makes everything so much harder. It's like the water's not clean, the air's not clean, our food is poisoned. Things are bad in basic needs. So this is, the air cards, the clubs cards often indicate to us that we can like just change things by daydreaming. And that's what I'm getting here. Let's daydream. This is a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? So maybe we're in this stage we can't even see the butterfly. The butterfly's got a man head. That's kind of weird. I don't really want to focus on that right now. I just want to think about being in the cocoon stage where we don't really know where we're going. It's certainly uncomfortable. It might be terrifying. And we've been going on instinct. Maybe we're protecting ourselves. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're exposed. But if we're dreaming and putting all that we can into a forward-looking vision, that is a place with clean air. That is a place where everybody gets food, where everybody gets to live their full life expectancy without violence. That's worth daydreaming about. That's worth some energy. It's worth some energy in all of the tumult and the wreckage to be like, things can be good. Let's spend some time to imagine what we want there to be. Really list it out. Really be very, very clear about the world you want and talk about it with other people. Get loud about it, What do you want to see? How do you want it to be? So that's that. In your home, in your family, we've gotten this guy a few times. Basically what he's a warlord. And so if I'm seeing him in the community circle, I'm thinking a different thing than in our family and our homes. When I see him in the home and in the family circle, I often think of him as a boundary setter for the kind of nonsense you're willing to put up with. Like, I revised my reading of last week. I didn't write it in. I might write it in a little bit. But after the events of Monday, where here in Maine, very close to my home, somebody was murdered by ICE, I took that enemies card that I was like, maybe we could chill and like stop screaming at each other and actually listen, to be like, no, actually we need to pull up an opposing force. Like, we need to push with an opposing force. And that's where I get this guy here. It's not wrong to be ready for some type of battle in the current climate that we're in. And as I've said before, if you're very clear about what you want your life to look like, that means you have to be ruthless or heartless, this is Marduk the Heartless, in getting rid of the things that don't fit. That just don't fit in the future or don't fit in the world you're trying to build. You have to let them go. And sometimes that's people, and sometimes it's things that's like actual things that maybe you thought were valuable at one point, but now you see that they're just in your way. You have to cut it out. And that's what he's saying. And then in self-care we have the Sword of Destruction. And so this is a very similar message, because do you see how those little two cuties are like cuddled up with the blade? Destruction breeds creation, right? It's destruction, but it's like necessary for things to fall down in order to rebuild. And this may be closest to the Tower card that is in this deck. It's about cutting. All of the sword cards, there's like a very slicey kind of energy to it because it's a sword, but it's like cutting away the stuff that's not working. But unlike the Sword of Healing, it's not necessarily cutting it away in like a dainty way or a precise way. There's a little bit of collateral damage here. So be really mindful. Be really mindful about what you are letting fall away and what you're destroying to get to where we want, but keep your eyes on what you do want and give yourself pause when enacting these changes in your family. Also, if you tend to be the person who like makes everything happen in your family, he doesn't listen so well. So let that rest a little bit and try to hear the other people in your family, because that's where this guy gets really negative, is that he will plow over people and not listen. And if you're embodying this energy, you want to make sure you're pausing so that you're not doing any damage to your family. So I'll hold these up again, mostly for me, so that when I go to make a little thumbnail, I have a good pick. So we've got the Ace of Clubs, Ethra, air, and so highlighting our air and also highlighting the power of imagination and manifestation. The Marduk the Heartless, reminding us to be kind and listen, but also be very clear with our boundaries. And the Sword of Destruction, letting us rest in the fact that all creativity requires some destruction. And this is in our self-care. So this is about connecting with what destruction are you okay with? What destruction are you bringing? Because we're always going to look at the hard stuff on our end. We're not just going to glaze over it. But like, are you bringing a destruction that is unwarranted? Or is it warranted? Which is funny that these two are next to each other. And I'm like, one of these. So that is all three. They don't have like a circle. They're kind of in a line. And then Leo being the energetic twin, or like opposite of Marduk, he is also very stern. He is also unwilling to bend. He's a little bit richer. He's a little less warlike, but he's just as likely to look out only for himself. So in this reading, we want to just guard against that. We want to remember that we are in a community, that we're looking out for all of us, and that other people are looking out for us too. And to also put ourselves first, regardless of all the things that are going on outside of that. So that's your reading. I hope it's helpful, and I will be back next week. And I will hopefully have another like YouTube video up next week. That's me in my home doing home-like things, organizing and whatnot, and I'm not really sure. My last video is that I put up last week is the list of projects I need to get done around the house, and I've started doing them, but not being very great at filming them because that's not something I always want to do. Regardless, I hope you're having a decent week, and I will check in with you soon. Bye.